Scene script. Have you ever wondered how paper is made? Let's dive into its fascinating history. It was around the year 105 AD in ancient China when a man named Kai Lun invented the first form of paper. This wasn't just a minor invention, it was a revolution. It transformed the way people communicated and kept records, providing a more efficient and accessible medium for information exchange. But the story doesn't stop there. The technique of papermaking began to spread, first to the Middle East during the 8th century, then to Europe in the 11th century. It was a marvel that was not to be kept secret, and it wasn't long before the art of papermaking went global, reaching every corner of the world. This seemingly simple material, born from the ingenuity of ancient Chinese craftsmen, has become an integral part of our daily lives. From its humble Chinese origins, paper has truly taken the world by storm. Papermaking has come a long way since Kai Lun's time. Let's see how. In the early days, papermaking was a labor-intensive manual process. Craftsmen would use cotton and linen rags, soak them in water, and then beat them into a pulp. This pulp would then be spread out on a flat surface to dry, creating sheets of paper. This method, while effective, was time-consuming and limited in its production capacity. The 19th century, however, marked a significant turning point in the history of papermaking. A wave of industrialization swept across the globe, and the paper industry was no exception to this shift. The manual process of papermaking was gradually replaced by mechanized production, vastly increasing the speed and volume of paper that could be produced. One of the key inventions of this era was the Fourdrinier machine, named after its inventors, the Fourdrinier brothers. This revolutionary machine mechanized the process of papermaking by creating a continuous sheet of paper, rather than individual sheets. This innovation significantly sped up the production process and allowed for the mass production of paper. Around the same time, another important invention came to light: the cylinder mold machine. This machine, unlike the Fourdrinier machine, produced paper in individual sheets, but it did so much quicker and more efficiently than the manual methods of the past. But even as these machines revolutionized the paper industry, another significant shift was taking place: the transition from using cotton and linen rags to wood pulp as the primary material for paper. This change was driven by the increasing demand for paper and the limited supply of rags. Wood pulp, on the other hand, was abundant and cheap, making it an ideal alternative. This shift to wood pulp also led to the development of new chemical processes to break down the wood into a pulp suitable for papermaking. These processes further increased the efficiency and affordability of paper production. The evolution of papermaking has been a story of innovation and adaptation. Now let's delve into the intricate process of making paper in the modern world. It all starts with sourcing the wood, a task that calls for discerning selection of trees to ensure quality and sustainability. Once the right trees are chosen, they are promptly debarked, a process that strips away the outer layer of the trees, preparing them for the next stage. Then, it's on to chipping, transforming these large, formidable trees into small, manageable pieces. This step is crucial, as it makes the subsequent chemical treatment more effective. This leads us to the chemical breakdown. Using a mixture of sodium hydroxide and sodium sulfide, the wood chips are broken down into a mushy substance known as pulp. These chemicals work their magic, breaking the bonds that hold the wood's fibers together, turning the solid wood into a semi-liquid state. The transformation of solid wood into pulp is a marvel of chemical engineering. The journey from tree to paper is just beginning, and it's a thrilling ride. The journey from pulp to paper involves some fascinating steps. Let's continue. Now, to remove any residual color from the pulp, we enter the bleaching stage. This process involves the use of chemicals like hydrogen peroxide or sodium hypochlorite, which react with the color compounds, breaking them down and washing them away. The result? A pristine white pulp, ready to be transformed into paper. Next, the pulp is spread out on a wire mesh. The water starts to drain away, leaving behind the fibrous pulp. This is the stage where the magic truly begins. As the water drains, the pulp fibers start to bond together, forming a mat. This mat, or sheet as it's commonly known, is the rudimentary form of our paper. But we're not done yet. This sheet is then passed through large, heavy rollers in a process known as pressing. The pressing squeezes out more water and helps to further bind the fibers, making the sheet stronger. Once pressed, the sheet is then dried. It's passed over heated cylinders which evaporate any remaining water. This helps to further solidify the fibers, creating a strong and durable sheet of paper. Different chemicals play a critical role at each stage, helping to break down colors, bind fibers, and dry the paper. And through the orchestration of these processes, the once soupy pulp is transformed. And voila, the pulp has metamorphosed into paper. As we enjoy the benefits of paper, it's important to consider its environmental footprint. Every sheet of paper that we use has a backstory. A backstory that's intertwined with our environment, from the towering forests where the trees are sourced, to the bubbling rivers that power the mills. But this relationship hasn't always been a harmonious one. Deforestation, for instance, is a major concern. It's estimated that around 40% of the world's commercially cut timber is used for paper production. This rampant cutting of trees leads to a loss of biodiversity and increased carbon dioxide levels, contributing to climate change. Water pollution is another issue. The paper production process releases pollutants into our waterways, affecting both aquatic and human life. However, it's not all doom and gloom. The industry has been making strides towards sustainability. Responsible sourcing is becoming the norm, with more and more companies prioritizing the use of wood from sustainably managed forests. Recycling, too, plays a crucial role. A single ton of recycled paper can save around 17 trees, thousands of gallons of water, and reduce greenhouse gas emissions. Innovations are also underway to further reduce the industry's environmental impact. From using less water in the manufacturing process to developing eco-friendly alternatives to harmful chemicals, the paper industry is evolving. As we look to the future, sustainable papermaking is more important than ever.